Yeah, okay, guys, keep your questions coming. It's been an exciting first half, first innings. As we go back into the second innings, we hope we will get more insights from the Vice President, National Cricket Federation. He's been giving us some insights and he's been talking to us, talking to the younger ones about what they should be doing in terms of their cricket. And that's he's made some valid points. We're still open to questions. There are questions that we do need to ask. He's done. We still need to ask around the national team and all that. I'm sure these questions are going to come, and he's going to answer the questions. Yes, the plan for developing this is going to be my next question for him. I'm hoping he's going to join us anytime soon. And you've heard from him about the TBS page and the work they are doing around the federation. He's also talked about the ICC giving 200, giving them 200K as as a KPI to look forward to in the next year, and we'll see how that pans out. So let me go back now and get Mr. Uyi Akpata back online. About to join us. Yes, thank you very much. And waiting. Yes, thank you for calling back to us. Yes. So, how much of your time do we have now? Can we slot in 10 minutes to 40 minutes from now? Is that possible?
Well, I have the temperament and the composure to remain in these innings.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. If you can, thank you very much for that. So there is a question here. I think you did justice to that last question. You talked to us about the remuneration, how much you've spent in the last couple of months, and what the equivalent is to level 12 or 13 in the federal establishments and all that. So that is fine with us. So there is this question, right, that has come up, and I think it's valid. Somebody has asked something similar earlier. The plan for developing talent on the field is clear. You've talked so much about that. We've seen that. We have seen a plan coming up, so that is fine. What are the plans to develop talent in other areas? Administration, coaching, umpiring, partnership, and most especially, we are building all these tough wickets. Groundsmen who are going to take care of these wickets. So that's the question. What are we doing in regards to this?
No, thank you very much. Very good question. As I said, we want to, the whole ecosystem or value chain would attract development itself. Last year, for the very first time, rather than getting coaches to go outside, people who are going for level 1 coaching courses, ICC came in and ran a program here in Nigeria where there was opportunity of about 15 or so people to participate in that program. So there was that for the coaching and there was that for umpires. It's in that respect that we had the first female Nigerian certified level 1 umpire. So that's, I think that's very good achievement. So the plans are on to increase the numbers for level 1 and then the next set of people who want to go to level 2. Recently, the ACA organized an event for 5 people. I think it was last week, where 5 people participated in like a coaching preparatory one that will go to level 1, as it were. But more importantly, we have gaps. If we are to get those numbers in terms of 200,000 people each year, there are people who need to go and train them. And I'm talking about training not only in terms of knowledge of the game, but for me, the most important thing when it comes to grassroots development is those softer issues you tell them. So these people should display good character that the young ones are likely to pick up, that will be more lasting, in my view, about it. So that's that. We're doing all of those. I said earlier, we have somebody who is an ICC recognized facilities development person. I mean, this guy, Andy, goes in and makes sure that grounds are prepared before some international World Cup matches. ICC have given it to us free for us to have consultations every Saturday. I hear there are about 15 or 20 people who are joining in. It's almost as if it's a development session where they are telling you, oh, this is how we prepare pitch and the rest of it. So that's it's very important, because at the end of the day, when you do this, people have to go. So whether it's good, yeah. So I think Andy, I think Rickson and the actors. So people participate in that, and it's growing. So administration will also increase. We had data officers. There are going to be data officers for each zone. You mentioned earlier, how do we record the so people who read statistics and the rest of it will go. Last year, beginning of this year, we increased the remuneration of people who work for the Nigerian Cricket Federation so that it can be more attractive. And then we had a long history of outstanding debts. So guess what? At the time that most people are not even paying due to COVID-19 and rest, we've paid salaries fully, and we are in terms of, because we recognize why people should show interest. And this even involves the development officers who have not technically been out on the field for the past 4 months. Salaries have been paid up to date and rest of it, because as I said, it must be attractive and people. So if we show good faith now, when the time comes, people are going to reward. Show good faith by recharged energies and focusing on delivery. A lot, and that's what we need to see. At the end of the day, we're not going to turn to the India or Australia or the some of the more developed cricket playing nations for now, but to the extent possible, it's going to be a win-win. You either choose a career within that or exhibit those attributes. And I will see those attributes is what will make you shine when you go outside cricket. I assure you, everybody, and that's, as I say, and I keep telling everybody for free, if it was done for cricket, I'm not sure I would have been as successful in where I currently work. Because those fundamentals was because of cricket.
Yeah, we're good to get there, and that's a very, very valid point. Just so that you know that everything we say here goes onto our website. We continue to play to all the young ones we're bringing up, and they continue to hear these things because they're fundamentals, they're important. We classify them as very, very important, especially hearing it from seasoned administrators or seasoned cricketers. So you remember we were doing our top 11, right? We've done a top 4. So let's do another 4 of people who inspired you.
Okay, now. Okay. I think one of the bowlers, he had the classic bowling technique and everything. Shea Fadamsi.
Fadamsi, yeah. People have mentioned his name a couple of times.
Yes. Malam Fadi. Yes. He was exceptional. He was just elegant when he comes, and he was a really good bowler. I didn't really get to play with him or against him. Timber is now a professor in University of Nsukka, but his pedigree and whatsoever. So I think I saw him on the outside fringes when I was in secondary school cricket. So I will also mention him amongst some of the people that's okay now. I didn't get to play for the national team. I just made the squad once. If not, I would have picked myself. So, and people would not believe me. So let me. So let me stay on track here. So okay. Let me go back in terms of what our head coach Ewenshaw was a very good cricketer in his days. Yep. So I have 7. You want me to continue to my 11? Yep.
Yeah. Coach Ewa Henshaw. Then we have 7, 8. Then yeah, the last one. Did I miss it?
Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, George Richard. It's my friend.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so we have 8 now. We have 3 to go, but at later date, at some point before we finish this conversation, we'll get to that 3. So let's talk a little bit about. You said without cricket you would have been successful in what you do. So the question is this: you are the country senior partner with PwC, and you are also the NCF vice president. Those 2 tasks are challenging. How do you do it? How do you prioritize?
In terms of, some of those things are really aligned in my view. I mean, a few years ago, well, more than a few years ago now, I turned 50. And I said, okay, what was I going to do in terms of giving back to the society? There was a lot of things I had to enhance my career in terms of what I do and the rest of it. But since turning 50, you just suddenly say, okay, how can you turn success into significance? So it came in at the right time when people were calling on me to see what we can do back in Edo when it comes to Edo cricket. So I accepted the challenge, and it's aligned with what we have in terms of our PwC strategic imperatives. That's making societal impact. So for everything PwC does in terms of societal impact, you as each individual is supposed to see how you support those initiatives. So the things were really very, very aligned itself. So at the end of the day, and in anything we do, yes, everybody says government, but let's also think what we can do. So with that at the back of our minds and the rest of it, it's very easy for me to say, okay, 10% of my time is going to be devoted to cricket. Okay. Whether I break it down to a monthly or daily task or weekly task and the rest of it. So that was very easy for me. And at the end of the day, as I said, it's aligned with our own PwC objective. That's why PwC sponsors cricket in other countries, and we also do the Nigeria Kids Cricket and sponsor the Under-17 Cricket Championship for boys and girls. Last year was the first edition, which I understand was quite successful. So those things come into play, as it were.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. I want to be like you when I grow up. So this question, I need to tell you this as well. So there is a particular part of the questions we're not going to ask you this time. We ask people to come up with 3 people who have inspired them, or who, if given the opportunity, would become the NCF president, or will become a top administrator in the Nigerian cricket world. And I'm not, and this is not a lie, because I've been keeping the records. And about 90 to 95% of people have spoken about you. They've included your name in their list, and I'm not kidding. Yes, and that was how we thought about. Let's bring you on here. I don't know if you know a friend called Roland Ilube. He was here about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he just went in straight. I'm going to go for Uyi Akpata, and that was it. So I think that's a big up for you.
Roland said that. I'm really humbled if Roland said that, because Roland's elder brother and I were classmates, but Roland is someone I certainly really admire. And so for him to have said that, I'm really humbled.
Yes. Yeah, so there was a question he couldn't answer because he wasn't in the NCF setup, but we're going to ask you later. I think somebody is asking that question, and I'm going to bring that question up. But before we go to that question, is the NCF looking to partner with the CCC for a more lucrative league?
The CCC, when we talk about effective partnerships, and I say it here, it's inconceivable if NCF does not partner with the CCC and indeed all the other leagues in one form or the other. As I said earlier, CCC is arguably the biggest league outside South Africa.
Yeah.
So if you look at even in Zimbabwe, I'm not sure there are like many teams that are active in terms of quality may be higher, but they may not be the same numbers. And the CCC thing will tell you, we've been trying to, there's a lot we had to do. We're still trying to build in terms of sponsorships of the various programs we were working on and rest. But at the time, it will become very necessary for us to partner. Because at the end of the day, the club league programs also tie to our overall numbers. So it's a win-win for everybody. It will start with, remember, CCC is technically, before this year, there used to be a lot of talk about CCC paying for the use of the TBS in one form or the other. There used to be a lot of questions. I mean, they will confirm that in the last 2 years or so, there's been none of that has taken place. I mean, so that's one step. We're thinking of providing equipment for us, but I think at the end of the day, when it comes to getting sponsors, sponsorship is all about brands, creating the right brand. We didn't want to go into a situation of going to meet sponsors when you did not have that brand created in terms of and a governance structure that created integrity, that creates integrity, and that will be attractive to potential sponsors. So that's the key. Luckily, under 19 win, the attraction that you're going to get so many players. And if CCC League comes in now, just imagine if CCC League, we have about 6 teams in Division 1, about 8 in Division 2. Each of those teams saying they are tracking, having about 2 or 3 schools that they are working with, and they decide to say, okay, they have a female team working with them. We'll partner with them, and because that's the attraction, because it may well be, what are you doing developmental aspects of the game? It's not just getting some people to just play and win a trophy. We need to think about it in a broader sense. So it now becomes big, really big. And that's I spent this last season working closely with the new leadership team of the CCC. It was just like I was just trying to understand some of this, because as vice president, I also chair the finance and sponsorship committee of the NCF. So I needed to really get a broad understanding of it this first year. And then jointly, we're going to find out a basis in which we can do this, not only for CCC League, but in any of the other states where we are playing good competitions and rest of it. In fact, ultimately, we even want to get a state where you have to say, okay, these are the league champions for Africa. I mean, for Nigeria. So those are things in the pipeline, but there's a whole long shopping list, and we have to be taking them one after the other, and we will get there. But now that you've said this, I mean, we wait for this to be over, or we can even do it now, because these days you have, we do things virtually. I think we will bring it at the next board meeting, which is first week in August. And we may have a virtual meeting to talk about all of these and agree the way forward.
Yes, so there's this question that needs answering as well. I think a lot of people are on board with this. Well, maybe we can say cricketers have been known to form a strong community in the corporate world. There are quite a number of unemployed graduates amongst us. Is there something that can be put together on the NCF level?
Well, NCF, I don't think NCF itself may, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just creating a brand and getting people who are in the cricket network. Those are the people that ultimately help in the sense, in terms of what we do. What NCF does for now is anyone who is cricket related, you now go and with jobs opportunity available. So someone is in Abuja, first priority is to cricketers. That's when there are vacancies for you to be employed. We have openings potentially for about 10 developments and people that will get them there. So let me pack that, for instance. We pack that there. But where we have cricketers who are qualified, right education, and more importantly, very, very important, more importantly, you've shown that discipline on the cricket pitch, then I can vouch for you as a corporate person, because cricket, that's where your character must come out. Whether you are an indisciplined person, whether you are calm, whether you are patient, those kind of things. So I'll vouch any day for any good cricketer who meets the right criteria, but I will not overcome any of those. And I think there are thousands of, as you said, people in the corporate world who will gladly do this. And I think they've been doing this on a consistent basis. The only thing those people will ask for is to say, okay, you've played, there are people who will say, okay, oh, you've actually played cricket for the national team and the rest of it. So if it's actually should be on your CV. Yeah. So if it's on your CV, then how do you now respond? I have some cricketers who have seen second class upper degrees in their various fields that I'm actively pushing. There's a lady in Benin, Edo State, who is in her final year as a medical, doing her medical degree. There's a lady, the captain of the female national team, who made a 2-1 in economics, who's just finished her youth service with PwC in Abuja. She was posted there. So there's someone who read computer science, who is one of our top ranking administrators. But these people, opportunities are, and I know there are very many out there that I'm sure, and there are many people who see and understand. I'm aware of people who have been supporting such initiatives. So let's focus on those, I still say those softer issues, because that's what will make you stand out.
Yes, I giggled a little because you were hammering on those issues. It's as if it's something that needs to be told.
It's very, very important for me. When I see people, it's very, very important for me.
Yes. Yes. So let's go to the national team, right? The national team, everybody wants to play in the national team. I've seen a lot of young guys who played cricket together, who will fight, who will practice day and night to get into the national team. Even as a university student, people who will say, you know what, I want to wear the yellow-green shirt. As far back as even into 100 level, even introducing them to the game, and they want to do that. So my question is this: how are you involved in the selection process?
Me as an individual or the board?
You as an individual.
Zero involvement.
Zero involvement.
I have no clue.
So what is you have no clue, and
but having said that,
yeah,
I'm a stickler for making sure that we have a strong process. So you have a selection committee made up of members of the board, the team manager, and the national coach.
Okay.
So they go through this exercise of selecting people. So that's where it's very important for us to know and open our minds to it is even beyond Lagos, Benin, or Kaduna that are the traditional cricket playing. Some of our top players come from outside these places, and we pick them up from the youth games and the other games that we've had. So I think because people are generally not exposed to them, it's only the selectors that see them. What we also now try to do, except we now have robust trials. We spend a lot of money on trials where people are seated and rest. So there's this misconception that, oh, there's this person who is strong in the CCC league, this person who is strong in the Edo league, how come they are not playing? But at the end of the day, there are people out there. There's a robust selection process that we assure as objective as possible. There will always be one or two lapses. Well, not lapses in terms of, but I assure you, mine as a member of the board, and many people are sticklers for that, is to be sure that there's a robust and objective process when we have things in place.
Yeah.
So me, I'm not involved in technical aspects of the games.
So maybe my next question will be invalid as well, but I will ask anyway. On match days, what is your involvement in team selection?
Match days, me.
Yeah.
Match days, I'm not even involved in it. Sometimes I'm very, I'm very, very, that's where my bravery ends.
Okay.
My bravery, you best look at me when there's too much tension. I guess it comes from supporting us now. So
yeah, Arsenal. Oh well, no. We shouldn't be saying that now.
Yes, but when the national team, imagine when the under-19s are playing and I'm tracking it. I have to turn it off for some time and go back and hope that no one is out and everything. I'm totally not involved, and we should not be involved. I mean, I don't know where this is coming from in terms of the sort of bias and rest. There are people who are passionate about it and want to be sure that we succeed in field of play and want to be sure. But at the end of the day, for instance, I know the president is really, really passionate about this. He does a lot of reading. He goes to the camp to work with the teams, and people sometimes misinterpret that for interfering. It's just his passion. It's just his passion and the rest of it. But now he's even told me, I don't know whether you know, we have actually gone through an exercise of recruiting a top-class national coach. It's just because of COVID-19 that person is not here. We are waiting to unleash him. We had a meeting with him again yesterday, and hopefully we are seeing tentatively, and he's already seeing and sending things through the technical people and the players rep. He's just waiting to go. That's where we built ourselves. So hopefully, with that level of recognition of that, with a plan in place, then those people who have that technical passion for the game may have a take full control, and then we as leadership may take a step back. But that passion and commitment being shown by the president and a few others, like say maybe Endurance, who is the players rep, should not be misconstrued as interfering with the game. Those are just lame excuses by people and the rest of it. In my view, this is just bringing that passion to the fore. It's just like me. At the end of the day, because I'm strong in finance matters, I'm insisting on certain things that we should do to keep our records and governance structures in place. Then you say I'm interfering with the process. We have somebody at the end of the day who is very strong in terms of our commitments, in terms of our infrastructure development. That's what he brings to the board. And so when he's pushing that agenda, people think he's interfering. So there are all of those things that over time, people should just remember that it's just that passion, and the ultimate objective is for the betterment of the game, and that we are taking all those moves to achieve our strategic goals.
Yes. So another quick question, national team, because this is a very, very important part of Nigerian cricket. The question is this: would you, in your own opinion, right, say that you are better off when preparing for a competition now that you guys are on board than ever before?
Well, I don't want to compare things about before and right now, because the more I dig into that, I see a lot of history. For instance, I mean, the national teams have gone on tours to the West Indies before. We're not doing that now, and so things used to happen then. These days, we're just more in the spotlight because in this the social media, and the rest, so things are more pronounced. But I mean, with due respect, I want to give credit to those people who have run the federation for a long time. I mean, I remember Kwesi Sego's time. I know there may have been things too, because people don't get to say things, so you question things about divisions and the rest of it. So one of the key things we tried to do was to make sure we have some harmonized boards, and trying as much as possible to bring people together in all forms, all stakeholders. I mean, my personal philosophy is that anyone who wants to make noise loves the game of cricket. So if that person is 80% bad, but the 20% is because he loves the game, let's work on that 20% and see how we can achieve the result. Once you adopt that philosophy, and rest, things can only be better. So I think What has happened is that we are building up on the gains in the past. But having said that, I know if I'm to use the records, ICC people tell me or tell us that we had a low shortly before we came on board as it relates to their own.
Yep. Okay. Standards.
Belong to the ICC body. So that's the only standard I'm using. And we had to rectify that. And we've gone a long way in rectifying that. Another thing we're going to put in place, or we're saying in place, we've spent all this number of years. Our facilities have over the time not met international standards as it relates to having tough wickets. We said we must do that, and we are well on our way to do that. When it comes to that, the last bit again, female cricket is very, very important. We are focusing on that so that at the end of the day, for any, there's 50-50, any 1 million free player was introduced. So those are areas where I think we've been more prominent. But if you talk about, say, okay, do we have better national team? We have, by the way, in fact, I'm going to use my next 3 slots for current players for my national team. So I want to go back in history. I'm going to use national team.
Yeah,
so if there's any national team player, they should start lobbying. So they should send me chats.
Interesting. So I don't want to take a lot of your time. So we are winding down now. But something that's important, because you mentioned it now, and you are going to be seeing a lot of it, and you mentioned part of it just now, social media and things, and we are using it. And thank God that you are on board with it. You have a Facebook page, you have an Instagram page. I'm sure you have a Twitter page and all that. You are going to be challenged by the youth of today. They are not going to want to do things the way they should normally do it, right? And it's not just a Nigerian thing, it's universal. People want to, I don't know what the word is now. People want to achieve things, but they don't want to go through the traditional way. They want to, find a way of doing it in their own way, in their own strength. How are you going to manage this kind of people in the cricket world?
Let me tell you, this is a very important life lesson. So I'm having to respond to millennials or next gen people in terms of their behaviors and thinking, and I adapt to them. The World Economic Forum on Jobs of the Future talks about how technology, the digital age, is driving our behaviors and the rest, which is what all the social media and all the other things we'll be doing and saying. But let me tell you something that is constant, and arguably it will even be more important at this time, is the softer issues about relationships, disciplines, and behaviors. So whether you think about it, outside world. So if you tell me that, oh, the youth today, that's all my language bull, but you must come back and actually show those there. So that's what I look out for. So it's very, very important that whether you're the youth of today and rest, maintain those disciplines. And I think that is what cricket, more than every other sport, brings out clearly. Your character. If I see you, I can stay at the TBS, watch a match for the whole day. I will be able to see some of the characteristics of those, whether when you're fielding or batting, your composure and rest. And that's your character. Now comes out from. Yeah.
Interesting. I like the way you term that, and which is quite interesting. And this is because a lot of younger ones, a lot of youths are watching this. They're going to be watching this. We're going to be playing back to them all the time. And so this is going to be shown and on and on and on to pick this particular message that we've asked you. So let's go to our top three. Then we take, the last three. Then we take 2 questions, right? And that will be it. So who will you put in your top 3? Have they lobbied you enough?
No, they've not. But because I just admire this guy. I think he has a lot of potentials. And it impressed me highly in the last on the last competition we had here. I think the Africa qualifiers.
Yeah.
He's a left-handed bowler, young man, Taiwo Mohammed.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think I've done any lefty in the team, but it's just I've put him in that team to sort of like be an example of the future of cricket in terms of that. So it looks like a calm lad. I think he has that full potential and he should focus on that. So it's for that reason that I put him in.
Mohammed. All right. 2 more.
2 more. Okay. Help me out here. Do you have any suggestions that have been prominent, I've missed out?
No. Probably, if I can only help. Yeah, no, I can help you with one because you mentioned him and mentioned how, even though he's junior to you, how he's really.
No, don't. Okay, don't. If it's junior, don't mention any name for me because it's my last one for one of the younger people. I'm talking about any that I could easily pick. Tony Enahoro, Henry Enahoro, or Tony. One of the Enahoros played very well for the national team.
National team. Okay, then one more.
I remember him then.
Yeah.
And my dad used to talk about him that he was really, really good. Okay, the guy, this is now my last one. I kept him as a joker for the joke of the series, and I'm sure it's going to be somersaulting as he hears this endurance of him. It's my last one.
Okay, fantastic.
Captain of the national team for a long time.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
I heard a lot about him, but I think, as I told you earlier, the way you play on the field of play, or you play your cricket, organize your team, and rest is something you carry on for a long time. And I think one of the reasons I've chosen him, despite if I've seen some of his statistics, is that those qualities that you expect from most people is beginning to display most of as we are now colleagues on the board. So that's why I was reserving him as my 11th person, because of those overall behavior. The statistics are also very good, by the way. He's gone to play.
Yeah. Yes, I think the internet is not.
So I made my 11. The 12th person. Okay. The 12th person that will be carrying water, Uyi Akpata.
I like that. No one has actually done this before, but this is impressive. I like the way you. Yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah, that's impressive. I like that. I like that. So yeah, so I will take 2 more questions, and that'll be it. For a sport that hopes to topple football, how do we plan to harness the media? Media
must be our partners. Very, very important. I think we've for most of our events, we have some of the people who have rest is very, very important. That's why I want to thank you for what you are doing. That's why I did not hesitate in terms of coming forward, because a lot of people, I mean, even people who don't understand cricket have sent me invites for even this program when they saw it. It's just gone round. People who don't understand and say, and I'm sure they will even want to have come in. So that's the kind of thing that can happen. I think there are one or two things we need to do in terms of overall media plan, because now I think we have a brand, we have all the partners aligned, so we need to be constructive in terms of getting media to push most of those things. And I think hopefully if we get, I mean, most of our supporters so far have been Aeroton and, well, Zenith Bank to when we came in. But once you identify one or two prominent partners, as it were, together with their own internal mechanism and the rest of it, we're going to push. But media is very, very important. Whether it's mainstream.
Yeah. Cool. Fantastic. Yeah. So one more question. You have unarguably been a major pillar to the success of the current board. What motivates you despite your busy schedule?
I'm just passionate about this. I think at the end of the day, I have a very good team, and the 12 members of the board bring something to the table. And working with everybody is just what. If for once, didn't feel I had that cooperation, I'm not sure I'll be motivated. But when you see people are encouraging you, and the rest to do so, you will want to redouble your efforts. That's what has happened in Benin, in Edo State. That's what happened in South. By the way, I have a foundation called the PETS Foundation, which means Promoting Ethics Through Sports. It's PETS Foundation, owned by my wife and I, and we contribute financially to running the schools female competition and the South, what we call Summer Slam program, where we reach out to kids during the summer vacation. And we've been able to do so. So again, it's, in my view, it's just about that passion about giving back to society. And I genuinely believe that cricket is one of those sports that presents those opportunities to teach Nigerians some of those disciplinary aspects that will take us, that we even need more outside the field of play, as it were. But let me thank, it's just about the people I partner with in terms of what we do on a day-to-day basis. That motivates me to continue.
Fantastic. And I think that's very, very important, and that's what drives a lot of people. And thank you for sharing that as well. Yes, so remember we started with IMCC. It's about the Metropolitan Cricket Club and what we stand to achieve with the young ones we try to bring up in our fold. For your information, the present national team captain was part of us at a very young age. And there are so many other young lads who play in the Division 1 that were part of us. So we have a whole lot of people in Ibadan, who we are bringing up and, trying to bring forth to the fold. So this is what it's about. We're going to be sharing this. If they're not listening, we're going to be sharing this with them on our website and on a regular basis. So 3 things, just 3. I know you have mentioned them during the course of this program. I know it, and I know where you stand as regards to these things. For a young cricketer, 3 things that they must have.
Number 1 is you must be extremely disciplined and exhibit some of those core values that cricket brings on board. Yeah, as I said, those values is like care for teammates, working together, integrity, all those values that cricket stands for. That's number 1 on the agenda. Number 2, you must focus on your education on and off the field. At the end of the day, unfortunately, cricket is not, even in some of the other nations, I mean, people continue and finish their universities, even some of them whilst even playing for league sides, top league sides. So you must finish because the cricketer's career is short span. So you must finish your education and the rest of it, focus on that and deliver. So I'm glad that most members of the under-19 team, virtually all of them are signed up to continue their education, as it were. Then number 3, don't just rest that you are talented. You must work hard to continue to build those talents. So during this period, first, how many of you are going out to look at the late Knicks? How many times are you saying, okay, let me just do every day, what's my fitness regime? So don't just be laid back. You must continue to build you're naturally talented, but some of these people that we see as stars work at it, at building those talents. So you must show those aspects of the softer issues key, continue your education, and talents, generally God-given, but you need to enhance it. Enhancing it means continuously developing yourself as it relates to the technical aspect of it.
Wow. Mr. Uyi Akpata, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate every time you spent here. You have won the record, 1 hour 46 minutes as the longest person to have come here, and it's because I couldn't stop at 1 hour 30 minutes because it was too much for me to handle and to say, oh, okay, let's cut it off, and you know what I mean. So it's been a beauty, it's been joyful, you know. Whatever people have been saying now, I understand why they've been saying all those things. Thank you so much. Thank you for stepping up to come to the Nigerian Cricket Federation at this time. We need you. We continue to strengthen you. As a club, tell us anything that you need, where we can support. We're going to be behind you. And yes, that's the message from IMCC. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much. I'm really, really humbled at this. And let me congratulate you on behalf of the board for really, really doing this. I didn't know what to expect, but for you to be doing this shows that you are passionate about the game, and it fulfills one of our key components of our strategy. So extend my very, very best regards and warm wishes to members of your club. And hopefully when the lockdown is fully unlocked, I'll come and spend time with you watching one of the league matches a weekend in Ibadan with the team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, cheers. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.